Sierra, please don't hug me in front of the hospital board. Not here. My name is Richard Sullivan, and those 7 words ended my marriage before I even knew it was over. I'm standing in the middle of a grand hotel ballroom in downtown Houston, surrounded by champagne glasses and people in expensive suits talking about pharmaceutical patents and surgical procedures. And my wife, Dr. Sierra Sullivan, just asked me not to touch her. I had my arms open. I was smiling so wide my face hurt. I'd been so proud I thought my chest would burst. 4 years of watching her study until 3 a.m., holding her while she cried over organic chemistry, missing anniversaries because she had clinical rotations, eating microwave dinners so we could afford her textbooks, working double shifts on the offshore platform while she attended medical conferences. It was all worth it for this moment. My wife, the doctor, our dream. But when I stepped toward her, something flickered in her eyes. Panic. Like I was a stain she couldn't explain away. Like I was something that didn't belong in this room full of people with medical degrees and pharmaceutical connections. Her parents stood behind her, Colton and Paige Clark, all tight smiles and country club tans, pharmaceutical executives who treated medical receptions like corporate networking events. Her father's eyes dragged over my suit, the one I bought special for tonight at Men's Warehouse. $240. That felt like a fortune when you're budgeting around offshore rotation schedules. His mouth twitched, not quite a smirk. Close enough? I'd seen that expression before. Every Sunday dinner, every holiday, every time he looked at me like I was something that crawled out of an oil drum. Of course, I heard myself say. My voice sounded far away, like it belonged to someone else, like it was coming from underwater. I understand. I didn't understand. But I nodded, turned, and walked through that crowd like I was wading through crude oil. My legs moved, but I couldn't feel them. Behind me, I heard her mother's voice, bright and relieved. Sierra, darling, Dr. Williams wants to meet you. She's the chief of staff at Memorial Hermann. You remember? The sound of Sierra's laugh followed me, that high, light laugh she used to save for me before medical school, before her parents' opinions mattered more than my feelings. Before I became the husband she introduced with an apologetic tone. I kept walking, past the ice sculptures shaped like a caduceus, past the table with our names on little cards, Dr. and Mr. Sullivan. Wasn't that funny? I was the Mr. now, past the life we built together, or the life I thought we'd built. My hand was on the exit door when I heard it again. Sierra's laugh, louder now. Someone must have told a joke. Doctor someone, probably. Someone worth laughing for. I pushed through the door and didn't look back. The cool Houston night air hit my face, but I couldn't feel it. I couldn't feel anything except the weight of those 7 words crushing my chest. Don't hug me in front of the hospital board. Viewers, would you have walked away or confronted her right there in front of everyone? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know what you would have done. Please, before I continue, kindly like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories. The parking lot stretched out before me, rows of cars gleaming under the Houston streetlights, BMWs, Mercedes, a Tesla or two, and then my truck, a Ford F-250, 6 years old, paint faded on the hood from salt spray and Gulf wind, but still running strong. Sierra used to say it was charming when we first dated, back when we'd drive to Galveston with blankets and cheap wine and talk about the future. 2 years ago, she started parking it in the back of the driveway, behind her Lexus, the one I bought her, the one she told her colleagues was a graduation gift from her parents. My phone buzzed. Shane. I stared at his name on the screen for 3 rings before I answered. How'd it go, brother? His voice was warm, expecting good news. Shane Rodriguez always expected good news. That's who he was. Optimistic, loyal, the kind of friend who showed up at 2 a.m. when you needed help moving furniture or disposing of evidence. Not that we'd ever disposed of evidence, but I knew he would if I asked. I stared at my wedding ring, white gold, simple band. I'd saved for 3 months to buy it, working overtime on the platform, skipping shore leave. Sierra had wanted platinum with diamonds, showed me pictures from magazines. But when I gave her this one, she'd smiled and said it was perfect because I'd chosen it. She wore it for 2 years before she started taking it off at the hospital. Sanitary reasons, she'd said. We have to scrub so much. Rings get in the way. Shane, My voice cracked on his name. "Remember what you said at my wedding?" The silence. On the other end stretched long enough that I could hear his breathing change. Then, quietly, Yeah, I remember. 2 years ago, Shane had pulled me aside at the reception while Sierra danced with her father. The DJ was playing Unforgettable, and everyone was watching them spin across the floor like something out of a movie. Shane had gripped my shoulder, his hand heavy, his face serious in a way that made my stomach drop. "Brother, did you see how her parents looked at you during the vows? Like you were the help, like you were there to serve drinks, not marry their daughter. And Sierra..." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "She didn't defend you once when her uncle made that joke about you marrying up. Said maybe you could work maintenance at her medical practice someday. Make yourself useful." I'd laughed it off back then. Told him they were just traditional, that they'd come around, that Sierra loved me, and that's all that mattered. Told him he was reading. Too much into it, being overprotective, seeing problems where there weren't any. I'd been such a fool. "You were right," I whispered into the phone now. "About everything. You were right." I hung up before he could respond, before I could hear the pity in his voice. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone when I dialed the second number. It rang 3 times. Each ring felt like an eternity. "Sullivan Moving Services, this is Drew." "It's Richard Sullivan, the plan we discussed last week, the contingency plan. You want us to proceed, Mr. Sullivan?" Drew Patterson's voice was professional, no judgment. I'd hired him a week ago, paid him a deposit, told him it was just in case. He hadn't asked questions. "The full house, everything on the list." I closed my eyes, saw Sierra's face, that panic, that shame. The way she'd stepped back from me like I carried the stench of crude oil into her sterile medical world. Do it now. I want the house empty by midnight." I sat in my truck for a long time after that, watching the lights in the hotel ballroom windows, thinking about the first time I'd worked offshore. 18 years old, scared as hell, but determined to make something of myself. The platform was like a floating city, 200 miles out in the Gulf, where men earned their respect through competence, not connections. My supervisor back then was a guy named Big Jim Morrison, no relation to the pharmaceutical clerks, just a roughneck who'd worked his way up from roustabout to tool pusher. He taught me that offshore, your word was everything. Your ability to do the job when lives depended on it was everything. The size of your bank account or your daddy's business connections meant nothing when you were dealing with high-pressure systems that could kill you in seconds. "Son," Big Jim had told me during my first week, "out here, we measure a man by what he can do when the pressure's on, not by what college he went to or what his wife does for a living. Can you handle the equipment? Can you keep your crew safe? Can you get the job done? That's all that matters." I'd spent 15 years proving myself on platforms from here to the North Sea. Worked my way up to supervisor, responsible for 23 men and millions of dollars worth of equipment. My safety record was spotless. My production numbers were among the highest in the Gulf. Other companies tried to poach me regularly, but tonight, in that ballroom, I'd felt like that scared 18-year-old again. Except this time, it wasn't equipment failure I was afraid of. It was my own wife's embarrassment. Meanwhile, back inside that ballroom, Sierra was living her dream. At least that's what she told herself as she accepted another congratulations from Dr. Harper Williams, the chief of staff who'd personally selected Sierra for her internal medicine residency program. Dr. Williams was a legend, 53 years old, had revolutionized patient care protocols, written textbooks that Sierra had studied from. Standing here holding a conversation with her felt surreal. "Your research on diabetes management protocols was exceptional," Dr. Williams said, touching Sierra's arm with perfectly manicured fingers. Her perfume smelled expensive. Everything about her screamed success. "We're fortunate to have you, Dr. Sullivan. Your innovative approach to patient care could change how we handle chronic disease management." Sierra's mother appeared at her elbow like magic, champagne flute in hand, beaming like she'd personally developed the diabetes protocols herself. "Harper, you simply must tell Sierra about the pharmaceutical conference next month. I told her she needs to start networking with the right people now. It's never too early to build those connections." The right people. Sierra had heard that phrase her entire life, like a drumbeat underlying every decision, every choice. The right. Schools, the right friends, the right career, the right clubs, and always, always the unspoken addition hanging in the air like Houston humidity. Not the wrong husband. "Where is your husband?" a voice came from behind her. Wyatt Thompson, a colleague from her cohort, appeared with his wife, Brooke. They'd studied together for boards, pulled all-nighters in the medical library, celebrated when they both matched to their top residencies. I wanted to congratulate him too, supporting someone through medical school. That's incredible dedication. My wife and I are still drowning in loans. $200,000 and counting. Sierra's smile felt like it might crack her face, like her skin was too tight, like she was wearing a mask that didn't quite fit. He had to leave early, work emergency. You know how it is, energy sector. Always something needs fixing. Her father, Colton, materialized beside her with the timing of a stage actor hitting his mark. He'd always had that. A skill, appearing exactly when needed to control a narrative. Always working that one. Oil never sleeps, you know. He said oil the way someone might say sewage management or waste disposal. Technically accurate, deeply embarrassing, each syllable loaded with disdain. Wyatt nodded politely, but Sierra saw it. That micro-expression that flashed across his face for just a fraction of a second, the slight widening of his eyes, the tiny pause before he smiled again. Oil, not medicine, not pharmaceuticals, not even engineering. Oil, manual labor, blue-collar, roughneck. Brooke, sweet Brooke, who always meant well, tried to salvage it. "Well, that's honest work. My father was a mechanic, worked his way up to owning his own shop." "How nice," Paige said, her voice dripping with the kind of politeness that was actually an insult. "Blue-collar work is so grounding." Sierra felt her cheeks burn. She glanced toward the exit doors where Richard had disappeared, but he was long gone. Part of her wanted to defend him, to tell them about the long hours, the dangerous work, the skill required to manage offshore operations. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, she found herself nodding along, letting the conversation drift towards safer topics like residency programs and hospital politics. 20 minutes later, Sierra excused herself to the bathroom, suddenly desperate for air, for space, for a moment where she didn't have to smile. She pulled out her phone in the marble-tiled restroom that probably cost more than Richard made in a month. No texts from Richard. That was unusual, strange even. He always texted. "How's my brilliant wife? I'm so proud of you. Can't wait to celebrate later, just us." "You're going to save lives, Dr. Sullivan." "Nothing." She started to type. "Are you okay? Did you get home safe?" Then deleted it. She'd apologize later. Explain that she'd been overwhelmed, that the moment had gotten away from her, that it wasn't. Personal. He'd understand. He always understood. That was one of his best qualities, wasn't it? How understanding he was. How he never made a fuss. How he just accepted everything. Her mother pushed through the bathroom door, breaking her thoughts. "Darling, don't hide in here. Dr. Williams' husband owns 3 medical supply companies, Memorial Hermann, Texas Children's, Methodist. You need to make an impression. This is how careers are built, not just on skill, but on connections." Sierra looked at her reflection in the ornate mirror. Designer dress. Richard had surprised her with it last week. Must have cost him a full month's salary from the platform, maybe more. The tags had still been on it. $1,200. She'd gasped, told him it was too much. But he just smiled and said nothing was too much for her special day. Diamond earrings, their first anniversary. She'd mentioned them once in passing, and he'd saved for 6 months. Her entire success story was written in his sacrifices, painted in the hours he'd worked offshore, built on the foundation of his love, and she'd just asked him not to hug her. The house was dark when Sierra pulled into the driveway at 11:15. Richard's truck wasn't there, but that wasn't unusual when he worked late preparing for his next rotation. Sometimes he'd text that he was grabbing drinks with Shane, or that he'd fallen asleep reviewing safety protocols. She'd apologize, they'd talk. Maybe open that bottle of wine they'd been saving. The expensive one his grandfather had given them at their wedding. Age 20 years, supposedly worth $500. Everything would be fine, had to be fine. She juggled her purse, the gift bag from her parents, a Tiffany bracelet she definitely didn't need, and her keys. The front door lock stuck the way it always did. Needed WD-40. Richard kept saying he'd fix it this weekend, then the next weekend, then the next. When she finally pushed it open, the hallway light didn't turn on. "Richard?" Her voice echoed wrong. Too much space in that word, like it was bouncing off empty walls instead of furniture and family photos and 4 years of accumulated life. She flipped the switch up and down, up and down. Nothing. Had a breaker blown? That happened sometimes in older houses like this. They'd bought it as a fixer-upper 3 years ago. Richard's first real estate investment. Sweat equity, he'd called it. He'd spent weekends replacing pipes and rewiring outlets while she studied. She pulled out her phone, turned on the flashlight, and walked toward the living room. The couch was gone. Sierra stopped breathing. Her flashlight beam swept across the room in disbelief. No TV, no coffee table, no bookshelf crammed with her medical texts and his Tom Clancy novels. The walls showed pale rectangles where their wedding photos had hung, ghost images of the life that used to be here, the indentations in the carpet where the couch had sat for 3 years, empty cable outlets, dust bunnies exposed in corners that had been hidden behind furniture. She ran to the bedroom, her heels clicking too loud on the hardwood, each step echoing like gunshots in an empty oil tank. Bedroom door open. Bed gone. The mattress they'd picked out together at Mattress Firm, arguing playfully about firm versus soft, ending up with medium because that's what couples did. They compromised. Empty closet. His side completely bare. Her clothes still hung there, untouched, color-coordinated the way she liked them. But the space where his work boots always sat was just clean floor. The shelf where he kept his baseball caps, the corner where his gear bag always leaked a faint smell of diesel fuel, all gone. She spun in a circle, disoriented, dizzy. The nightstand on his side, the one his grandfather had made by hand, solid oak, supposedly over 100 years old. Gone. The lamp he'd built from driftwood they'd collected at Galveston Beach. Gone. She ran to the bathroom, slipping slightly in her heels. His toothbrush, his razor, his cologne that smelled like cedar, and something earthy she could never quite name. All gone. The medicine cabinet empty on his side. His shampoo gone from the shower. Even his bathrobe from behind the door. Back to the kitchen. Panic rising in her throat like crude oil. Her flashlight caught something white on the counter. An envelope. Her name written in his handwriting. The letters careful and even. The way he always wrote. Like he was afraid of making a mistake. Like he'd never quite believed he was smart enough, despite running million-dollar offshore operations. Her hand shook so badly, she tore the envelope opening it. Paper spilled out. Official letterhead. State seal. She recognized the format from when her roommate had gotten divorced second year of medical school. Divorce papers. Official, stamped, dated this morning. This morning, while she was getting her hair done for the party, while she was choosing which earrings to wear, while she was practicing her smile in the mirror, while Richard was systematically dismantling their life. Filed at 9:47 a.m., according to the clerk's stamp. And underneath, a note on yellow legal paper, the cheap kind from the drugstore. You got your degree, your dream. I got mine too. Self-respect. Don't look for me. My lawyer will contact you. Richard? Sierra's knees gave out. She hit the floor, the papers scattering around her like fallen leaves from a dead tree. Her phone was in her hand before she realized she'd grabbed it. Muscle memory taking over. She dialed his number, straight to voicemail, his voice warm and alive. Hey, it's Richard. Leave a message and I'll get back to you. Richard, what is this? Call me, please. I don't understand. Just call me back. She called again, and again, 23 times over the next hour. She counted, 23 times, his voice. Hey, it's Richard. Leave a message. But he never called back. The phone just rang and rang into the void, and Sierra sat on the floor of her empty house, surrounded by ghost furniture and broken promises, and finally understood what she'd done. The bank manager looked uncomfortable. Tessa Monroe, her name tag read. Mid-50s, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. The type of woman who probably had grandchildren and baked cookies, and couldn't understand how someone's life could fall apart at a bank counter on a Tuesday morning. She kept darting her eyes away from Sierra's face, like she was looking at something too painful to witness. Ma'am, I understand this is distressing, but the account was under Mr. Sullivan's primary name. You were listed as a joint holder, but he had full legal right to close it. Tessa's voice was gentle, practiced, the tone of someone who'd delivered bad news before. Sierra gripped the edge of the desk so hard her knuckles went white. She'd been standing in line for 40 minutes, trying to withdraw money for gas, for food, for anything. Declined, every card, every account. The ATM had eaten her debit card. That's my money too. I deposited my graduation gift checks there, my signing bonus from the hospital. I see 2 deposits from you in the last 4 years, Tessa said gently, pulling up the account history on her screen and turning it slightly so Sierra could see. One for $500 2 years ago, another for $300 this past Christmas, totaling $800. Mr. Sullivan deposited. She scrolled, kept scrolling. Over $400,000 in that same period. The number hit Sierra like a rogue wave, like being dunked in ice-cold Gulf water, like waking up from a dream into a nightmare. 400,000. She'd never actually looked at the statements. Richard handled the finances, always said not to worry about it, that he had it covered, that she should focus on school. She'd been grateful, relieved even. One less thing to stress about while she was drowning in anatomy and pharmacology and clinical rotations. What about the savings account? The emergency fund? Her voice sounded desperate even to her own ears. Tessa's expression said everything, pity mixed with professional distance. Also closed as of 7 a.m. this morning, ma'am, along with the joint credit cards. All accounts associated with Richard Sullivan as primary holder have been dissolved. Sierra stumbled out of the bank into the harsh midday Houston sun with $43 in her wallet. Everything she had left from the cash in her purse that she'd almost spent on valet parking at the graduation party. Her Lexus was parked across the street, the Lexus Richard had bought in his name because her credit had been destroyed by student loans and he'd wanted to get her a good interest rate. Her stomach turned. The car wasn't hers. The house, well, the empty house, wasn't hers. The furniture that was now God knows where wasn't hers. Nothing was hers. Everything she thought was theirs was actually his, and she'd never even noticed. That's when she saw him. Shane, Richard's best friend, standing by a truck 3 spaces down from her car. He was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Sad, maybe, or disappointed, or vindicated, like he'd been waiting for this moment. She walked toward him on unsteady legs, her heels clicking on the pavement. Shane, please, where is he? I just need to talk to him. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes to explain. Shane shook his head slowly, deliberately. You had 4 years to talk to him, Sierra. 4 years to treat him like he mattered, like he was something more than a walking ATM. I do. He matters. He's everything. At your wedding, Shane said quietly, cutting her off, your uncle made a joke loud enough for half the reception to hear. Said Richard should be grateful you were letting him marry up. Said maybe he could work maintenance at your medical practice someday, make himself useful. You know what you did? Sierra's throat closed. She remembered. God, she remembered. She'd laughed. Not a real laugh, just a polite social laugh. The kind you give to diffuse awkward moments, to keep the peace, to not make waves. But she'd laughed. You looked right at Richard, Shane continued, his voice hard now. And you laughed like it was funny, like the man who'd worked himself into the ground to pay for your dream was a joke. And when he looked at you, I saw his face, Sierra. I saw what it did to him. Shane opened his truck door. You know what he told me later? She couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. He said, it's fine. She didn't mean it that way. She was just being polite. He defended you, made excuses for you, convinced himself that you didn't really think he was beneath you. Shane climbed into his truck. But you did think that, didn't you? And eventually, he figured it out. Shane, please, I love him. I know I messed up, but You loved what he could give you, Shane said, starting his engine. There's a difference. He drove away, and Sierra stood there on the sidewalk with $43 and the wreckage of her life, and finally understood what she'd lost. The hospital cafeteria hummed with the usual lunchtime chaos. Residents grabbing coffee between rounds, attending physicians huddled over tablets reviewing patient charts. The smell of disinfectant mixing with whatever the kitchen was calling Tuesday's special. The fluorescent lights were too bright. Everything was too bright. Sierra sat alone at a corner table by the window, overlooking the parking lot, staring at a cup of coffee she'd bought with her last $5. She'd skipped breakfast, would probably skip dinner. $43 minus $5 for coffee left, $38. How long could a person survive on $38? Dr. Wyatt Thompson slid into the seat across from her. They'd been in the same cohort for 4 years, studied together for boards in the library until 3 a.m., celebrated together when they both matched to their top residencies. He'd been at her graduation party. He'd met Richard. He looked uncomfortable now, the way people look when they know something you don't, when they're about to ruin your day. He scratched the back of his neck, a nervous tell she recognized from when he'd had to present difficult cases to attendings. I saw your husband's LinkedIn post, Sierra. Sierra's blood turned to ice. Her coffee cup stopped halfway to her lips. What post? Wyatt hesitated, his eyes searching her face like he was trying to decide if she could handle it. Then he pulled out his phone, hesitated again, and turned it toward her. This one. It's everywhere, Sierra. I'm sorry. Richard's profile picture filled the screen. There, wedding photo, him spinning her in the rain outside the courthouse because it had started pouring right after they'd said their vows, and instead of waiting it out, he'd grabbed her hand and danced with her in the parking lot. She remembered that moment with crystal clarity. The photographer had wanted formal shots inside, but then it started pouring, and Richard had grabbed her hand and just danced. She'd never laughed so hard in her life. The caption read, "To everyone who asked, yes, I funded her entire medical education. Yes, I worked 21-day offshore rotations to make it happen. Yes, I took out loans against my equipment to cover her final year. No, I don't regret investing in her dream, but I do regret being treated like an embarrassment instead of a husband. Wishing Dr. Sierra Clark," she prefers her maiden name now apparently, "all the best in her career. She earned it. Offshore life, offshore, blue-collar pride, or truth-telling." Posted 6 hours ago, Sierra scrolled down with shaking fingers. 2,000 shares, 8,000 comments. The numbers kept climbing as she watched. 2001, 2,234. Going viral in real time across the oil and gas industry network. She clicked on the comments, unable to stop herself, even though she knew it would hurt. My ex did the same thing, used me for my paycheck, then acted ashamed when she got her degree. Gold diggers are everywhere, brothers. This is why I'll never help anyone through school. They leave the second they don't need you anymore. Seen it 100 times in this industry. Find a woman who loves you before she makes it, not because you can help her make it. But worse. So much worse were the ones from people in the oil industry who knew Richard. Wait, this is Sierra Sullivan? I work with Rich on Platform Echo. Had no idea his wife was a doctor. Guy never made a big deal about it, just said she was in school. Rich Sullivan is one of the best supervisors in the Gulf. Saved my life during that. Blowout in 22. If his wife can't see what she had, that's her loss. Platform supervisor managing 23 men and million-dollar operations, but his wife's ashamed of him? Lady, you married UP, not down. Wyatt cleared his throat. Sierra, I don't know what happened between you two, but people are talking. Dr. Williams called an emergency meeting this morning about professional reputation standards. She didn't name names, but everyone knew who she meant. Sierra couldn't breathe. 4 years of perfect grades, 4 years of flawless recommendations, 4 years of prestigious publications and research projects, and building a reputation as someone serious, someone competent, someone worthy of respect, erased in a single social media post. He's destroying my career, she whispered. Wyatt stood up, picking up his tray, his lunch half-eaten. His voice was quiet but not unkind. I think he's just telling the truth, Sierra. That's not the same thing. He walked away. And Sierra sat there with her $5 coffee going cold, watching the comment count climb. 8,234, 8,456, 8,092. Her phone buzzed. Email from Dr. Williams. Please see me in my office at 2 p.m. This is urgent and cannot be rescheduled. Sierra looked at the time. 1:47 p.m. 13 minutes to figure out how to save her career. The law office smelled like leather and old money and the kind of success Sierra used to think she wanted. floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined with legal volumes probably no one had opened in decades, mahogany desk that probably cost more than her first car, framed degrees from UT Law. Brady Cooper, Richard's attorney, sat across from her in a suit that probably cost $3,000, looking every inch the shark that Richard had somehow afforded to hire. Sierra sat with her own lawyer beside her, Quinn Bailey, a friend from medical school, who'd agreed to help pro bono after hearing Sierra had no funds. Quinn's suit was from Target. The contrast wasn't lost on Sierra. "My client is willing to mediate," Quinn said, trying to sound confident, trying to sound like they had leverage. She slid a folder across the mahogany table. "Mrs. Sullivan is requesting spousal support, given that she's just beginning her residency and Mr. Sullivan's income significantly exceeds—" Cooper held up a hand, manicured nails, probably got them done weekly. "Before we proceed, I need to provide disclosure on my client's complete financial picture, full transparency as required by law." He opened his briefcase, Italian leather, monogrammed, and removed a folder so thick it made a sound when it hit the table, a heavy thud that felt like a gavel coming down. Mr. Richard Sullivan inherited offshore investment accounts from his grandfather 8 months ago. Cooper opened the folder, pulling out document after document. The portfolio includes stocks in 3 major oil companies, currently generating approximately $48,000 in monthly dividends, offshore drilling equipment leased to Shell and Exxon, valued at $1.7 million, and liquid assets totaling $900,000. The room tilted. Sierra heard herself say $4 million, but it sounded far away, like someone else was speaking. Total portfolio value, $3.2 million. Cooper's voice was clinical, precise. "Mr. Sullivan kept these assets in a separate trust established prior to your marriage and maintained separately throughout. He never commingled these funds with marital accounts." Quinn was flipping through the documents, her expression shifting from confused to stunned to something like horror. "He's had this money for 8 months, while paying for—" She looked at Sierra. "Did you know about this? Any of this?" Sierra couldn't speak, couldn't think. 8 months. The graduation party was 3 days ago. For 8 months, 240 days, Richard had been a multimillionaire while still working. Rotation schedules, still driving his old truck with the fading paint, still clipping coupons at H-E-B, still buying store-brand cereal instead of the name brand she preferred. Why? The word came out broken, barely a whisper. Why would he hide this from me? Cooper's expression softened slightly, the first crack in his professional armor. He didn't hide it, Mrs. Sullivan. He was very clear with his grandfather's attorney, and I quote from the notes of that meeting. "I want to see if she'll love me when she doesn't need my money anymore. I want to know if I'm enough, just me, just Richard, without being able to give her things." The words hung in the air like smoke, like poison, like truth. "He was testing me," Sierra whispered, tears streaming down her face now. "All this time, he was testing me, and oh God, I failed. I failed so completely." Cooper closed his folder with careful precision. "No, ma'am. With respect, he wasn't testing you. He was hoping, praying actually, that you'd prove him wrong, that you'd love him for who he was, not what he could provide, that when you didn't need his money anymore, you'd still want him. The graduation party," Sierra said slowly, pieces clicking into place like a horrible puzzle. "That was his final test. If you'd still love him," Cooper finished. "Yes. For what it's worth, Mrs. Sullivan, my client is not a vindictive man. He's authorized me to offer you $5,000 as a gesture of goodwill to help you transition. No strings attached, no requirements, just because he doesn't want you to struggle. $5,000. A month ago, she would have thought that was generous. Now she knew it was pocket change to him. A rounding error, less than he spent on her textbooks. "I don't want his money," Sierra heard herself say. "I just want—" But she couldn't finish, because what she wanted, she'd already destroyed. If you enjoyed this story, please comment below for part 2. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories.